And welcome to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Wednesday, March 18th. We are going to call ourselves to order here at 1:01 p.m. First item on our agenda is the national anthem. If you could stand and please face the flag. Excellent. Next item on our agenda is our land acknowledgement, and although I didn't ask or warn people beforehand, we'll see who's ready. I have it down as the deputy mayor is next. Do you have it in your drawer? In a drawer. Okay, so deputy mayor, please.
Thank you. As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of the Township of Whitewater Region and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of Indigenous people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Next item is the adoption of the agenda, and the recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the March 18th, 2026 agenda. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Moore. Is there any changes or amendments that anybody would like to propose to the agenda? I'll just highlight for those people that might be watching, item number 6, which is our presentations. The presentation portion of today's meeting will take place not before 4:45 p.m. The presenters from the Whitewater Region Public Library Board aren't available this afternoon, so they aren't available until 4:45. So at whatever point we will complete all the items that we can first, and then we'll recess and then re-come back for 4:45. Good. I see no other changes or amendments. Then we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you. Next is the adoption of minutes. We have a set of minutes from March 4th. Recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the March 4th, 2026 minutes. A mover and a seconder, please. So moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Trim. Any errors or omissions? Good. I see none. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's carried unanimously. Thank you. Next item is disclosures. Is there anybody that needs to disclose on any of the items in today's agenda? Good. I see none. As I said earlier, item 6, presentations, we're going to skip over and come back to at 4:45 p.m. And that leads us into item number 7, which is the mayor's address. And I just have a short one prepared for today. Over the last 2 weeks, I attended 7 meetings and events on behalf of council, and just a couple highlights that I wanted to share with council and the public. First, Ontario Power Generation, OPG, held an open house in Westmeath and an online webinar these past 2 weeks. These are excellent presentations that include 90 minutes of detail on the Ottawa River watershed, the spring freshet, and how rising water levels are managed year-round across the watershed, including our area. We had a number of Whitewater residents attend both sessions, so it was great to have the info shared and to hear questions from the community. Also, as the spring freshet is either started or it's in the cusp of starting, I can't decide depending on what the temperature is outside. One day it's 20, one day it's minus 20. But we're right there at the cusp of starting the freshet. And I know our deputy CEMC, who is our fire chief, will be monitoring the conditions. And if there's a requirement to stand up our municipal emergency control group, we will ensure that that detail is shared with all of council as soon as that happens. But at this point in time, it's the usual freshet monitoring until that trigger point. My second point today is one I didn't expect to have to raise here in Whitewater Region. We're a rural community that's known for being supportive and respectful, but over the past week, there have been 2 incidents that we need to talk about openly. Our municipal staff at the Township of Whitewater Region is here to help, and they show up every day with professionalism, patience, and a genuine commitment to the community. So when they are met with threatening behavior, that's deeply concerning, and it simply isn't acceptable. We understand, on behalf of council, we understand that people can feel frustrated at times when dealing with municipal issues. That happens. But no one should ever feel unsafe in their workplace. As a council, we fully support our employees, and we will take appropriate steps to ensure that they are protected. So respectful communication matters. It's part of who we are as a rural community, and it's a standard that we will continue to expect and uphold. Good. That concludes my mayor's address for today. Is there any comments or points from council? Yeah, Joey, our council trim.
Yes, thank you. I also attended the OPG presentation, and what they know now, with the information they have, is that the freshet this year, it seems to be in the normal range. Is that correct, Mr. Mayor?
I will never. It's the snowpack is normal.
Right.
The amount of moisture that they've been able to measure in the snowpack, but how that snow melts, how quickly, or the rainfall, or other precipitation that's involved in that, we can't forecast beyond 3 days. But it's not. There's not a red flag at this point, I guess is a safe way to say it. Sorry, you have me waffling here, but we can't confirm the weather. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Good. Any other questions or comments from council? Excellent. Good. That moves us on to public comments, and if you guys haven't noticed, and I'm sorry I didn't point it out at the beginning of the meeting, we have a new acting clerk. Is it acting clerk or is it designated clerk? Clerk. Acting clerk is our treasurer, with our CAO on leave and our clerk not available today. So my question to you is about public comments. Can you confirm if we received any public comments and anything on the agenda today?
I confirm we received nothing.
Perfect. Good. With that, we're going to jump right into item number 9, which is our reports. The first one is about the Beachburg water main replacement, specifically the water main right in front of Councillor Moore's house. And this is about the engineering award. So the recommendation is that the council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the award of engineering services for the Beachburg water main replacement design to Robinson Consultants in the amount of $44,607.51, inclusive of non-refundable HST. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Bell. And Director of Public Works.
Yes, thank you. As you recall, in 2015, Council directed staff to proceed with engineering services and to determine the extent of the investigation of the 4 water main breaks in the last since 2015. Staff did communicate with the engineering design firm that was for Crawford and to request a proposal for the actual water main project to be sole sourced rather than go out to RFP. That was done, that staff seen a opportunity for cost savings through on-site inspection. If they're doing one project, they could be here doing another project, doing the on-site inspection. So after several meetings with the engineering firm, on February 13th, they came back and decided that they were not, that they didn't have the capacity to complete that project. The one thing note that staff did to execute the actual design quicker, we hired a surveying company to do all the locate requests and actually survey the area prior to winter. Following the setback that was presented on February 13th, staff contacted Robinson Consulting, Inc. To determine, see if that water main could be a candidate for relining. We met with Robinson, and they came back that because it was the small amount of 325 meters, that open cut replacement would be more cost effective. And then Robinson did provide a proposal which included 271 hours to complete a preliminary design and tender set drawings, a tender spec, and also the Form 1 that for our DWQMS. Through Robinson's cost, they also provided costs for contract administration, which would be a upset limit of $80,000. But at this time, staff only recommended. I'm recommending the award of the actual engineering services, and then from there we would go out for tender, and following the summer of construction. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. We'll go to the mover first, Councillor Moore. Any questions or comments?
Just a comment. This has been ongoing since I asked for this last year at this time, so it's moving ahead, and I am certainly in favor of this report and look forward to working it through this year. Thank you.
Good, Councillor Bell. Any comments or questions from other members of council? Councillor Trim?
Yes, I agree with Councillor Moore that it's good that we're getting on this as quickly as possible, because if there's, God forbid, another break, that adds to this cost. And so hopefully we can get through this spring without a break and get it repaired, and then that will be this area taken care of. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments from members of council? Yes, Councillor White?
Okay, just so I understand, so the 80,000 that is quoted, and estimated, that is the engineering services along with the administration and site inspection?
No, that is above and beyond the actual. So it's 44,000 for the actual design, and then 80,000 for additional, which would provide on a 50-week site inspection, which staff feel that maybe be excessive, but we would work with Robinson Consultants and bring back a upset limit during the award of the actual contract.
And, may I continue? And the 80,000, is that part of the 408,000?
That's correct.
Okay. But we still have to hire contractors to do the work, right?
That is correct.
Okay, and that comes out of the 408?
Yes.
Okay, and we aren't doing Crawford Street now?
So there will be, sorry, if I may, Mayor, council, staff were hoping to bring a back report this week, but we'll come back at the next meeting. We'll bring a report for Crawford Street.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions? The numbers caught me, and I just want to make sure, because I didn't understand the numbers the same way. So, budget is 408,000. we've spent 8,500 already. We're proposing to spend 45,000 more on the engineering, with a potential 80,000 more on contract administration.
That's being proposed, yes.
Yeah. Would leave us about, quick math, 280,000 left for actual execution of the replacement of the water main. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah, and staff feel that the 80,000, that's based on a certain amount of hours, that we would work with them to determine the actual amount of hours required for this.
Perfect, and that'll come at a later time. So all we're committing to now is the 44 and change, plus what we've already done, the 8,500.
That's correct.
Okay, good. Yeah, Councillor White?
Those are questions I had before, but for now, what do you mean open cut compared to what? I'm not
So,
sure.
so we were looking at actual relining of the actual water main. So with trencher technology, they can dig the water main in two areas and pull back a liner and reline the actual water main versus digging it up and installing new pipe. And in this case, what's being proposed is open cut, which is digging it up. Yep.
But they examined both options. In this case, the open cut was more suitable, and I think was going to cost the same or less. Good. If I have one other question, can you speak to it doesn't say it specifically in the recommendation or in the report, but this is a sole source
That's
application?
correct.
And can you just confirm why this would merit being a sole source?
Yes, it's a very good question. Just for time, if, like, originally it was going out with the previous consultant, which would save time, and in this time, they couldn't do it. We have two options, either to sole source or to go out a RFP process, which would add approximately 6 to 8 weeks to the actual schedule. So this is the fastest way we could, the staff felt, that to sole source to get the project moving.
Excellent, thank you. I just wanted to make sure we had that on the public record. But any other final questions from anybody? Okay, I see none. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you. Item 9.2, which is the Beachburg Water Treatment Plant Renewal and Optimization Project, update number 3. So lots of language here, but this is essentially the Beachburg Water Main project, or Water Treatment Plant project that's been working on. This is the third update. The recommendation that Council of the Township of Whitewater Region direct staff to issue the following change orders for Beachburg Water Treatment Plant Renewal and Optimization Project. 1, replacement of the interior plumbing connection. 2, replacement of the high lift pump isolation valves. And 3, addition of a new post-filtration chlorine analyzer. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Olmsted. And this is going to our superintendent, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The title of of the report is Project Update. It's not so much of a big update here. We were in front of council back in February for the last change order. So it's a short and sweet one. We're just really talking about the 3 items identified. So as I just mentioned, we were in front of you guys in February to discuss the chemical metering pumps change order that was previously approved, and sort of provide you an update on all of the change orders that have been approved, contemplated, and declined over the course of the project. So to date, 4 change orders have been approved and completed at a total cost of $117,433. We had 3 additional change orders that we previously had got pricing for, but we elected to decline them. Notably, the swale construction at the rear of the building was one that we have declined, but staff have determined that it's likely that our internal forces will be able to, pardon me, complete that work in the next maybe month or two, once the snow has melted a bit and they can start to move the soil around at the back of the building. The reason for that work is that just the way it's currently sloped, we've seen some water sort of coming in off the back of the building. So hopefully that will be able to be done sooner than later. And then there's 3 additional contemplated change orders that we identified in the February 4th report, but we didn't have pricing for yet. So we've since received pricing for them, and that's why we're coming back to you today. So the first is the replacement of the interior plumbing connection. So this is the let's call it the domestic water for the building. And it also is the location where I believe they are taking water samples from for the actual process. The second is high lift pump isolation valves in the amount of $12,693. And the last one is post-filtration chlorination filters. So I'll give you guys a little bit of an explanation of each of these. So the interior plumbing connection is connected to the high lift header in a portion of the plant that it's in poor condition. And throughout the project, there's been several instances where we've been looking at all the valves across the plant and considering the work being done where the things need to be opened and closed. And during the course of that work, they realized that this one location is in quite poor condition. Initially, they were completely unable to close the valve. Some working of it, they were able to actually get it closed when needed previously, but it has brought back the point that the valve is in poor condition, and if they ever did need to do work sort of in that area, they would want to be able to use that valve reliably. So we've brought this one forward to council as part of this project because we have contractors on site that are able to do it. Now, at this point in time, the work could be postponed. It doesn't have to happen now. But if it were to start to leak or there were another reason to come up where they would need to use that valve, it could become an emergency repair situation, which could result in higher costs. So our consultant, EVB, has recommended, and staff are recommending that we do recommend that this change order is approved while the construction trades are on site and able to do that. Otherwise, if it's not approved, we would likely include it in the future capital budget going forward in the future year. The second item, the replacement of high lift pump isolation valves. So it's a similar, if you scroll down a little bit, it's just this red, one of these red valve here. Similar situation. These were valves that were being looked at while other work was going on. So we have high lift pumps that are just sort of to the left in the picture at each of there's 4 of them each in line. And during the time that the high lift pumps were being replaced, those isolation valves were used. And again, it became obvious during that work that the valves weren't operating as they would hope. The one pictured, I believe, isolation valve 3, it was leaking for them while they were trying to complete the work. So again, these pumps or these valves are reaching the end of their useful life. Additionally, the type of valve that are actually used here, they're called knife valves, aren't actually considered to be to meet the NSF standards. So they would use, if they are replaced, they'll be replaced with what's known as a butterfly valve. So again, sort of the same situation where these are critical valves for this plant. They don't need them at this exact second. They were able to complete the work that they needed to do as part of the bigger project. But if it were to come up again in the future where they needed to rely on these valves, they wouldn't necessarily do what they need to do. So again, the consultant, EVB, has recommended that, again, we issue a change order while the trades are on site and able to complete them. The last item is a new post-filtration chlorine analyzer. So what this is, it's a chlorine analyzer that would be installed at the end of the filtration process. So we have a big tank, if you've ever been inside the plant, and this chlorine analyzer would allow the SCADA system that's now being installed, as well as operators, to detect if there is a low chlorine issue. So if upstream of that, during the filtration process, if something happened where chlorine wasn't dosed the way it needed to be, this would pick up a low chlorine situation early so that the plant would shut down immediately and could be corrected without continuing to push unchlorinated water into the clear wells, which is like the holding tanks beyond. So currently there is a chlorine analyzer at the exit of the plant. So at the exit of the clear wells as it's entering the distribution system. So we will get an alarm if we have a low chlorine situation. Unfortunately, where it is, it doesn't allow them to actually correct it. You can stop the flow, but that water essentially, my understanding is it would have to be dumped. I don't know if that's the other word, a way of saying it, but so this installation of of an additional analyzer earlier in the process would allow us to sort of catch a problem and fix it before it becomes an issue. The conversation around this one came up as a result of the provincial order that we had in relation to some issues we had with chlorine analyzers. So the Ministry of Environment is aware of this, and they agreed that this analyzer would be helpful. And again, we're in the same situation where it's not critical at this exact moment, but it is something that we do recommend installing, and it could be installed while other work is going on to install the other chlorine analyzers and control panels that are being done at the same time. So again, if this isn't approved at this stage, we would likely bring it forward again in a future year. So rather than rehashing the totals from previous time, just to let you know that to date, we are currently overspent on the initial total project cost by about $13,055. So we did have some contingency funds, and the total of the four change orders that have been approved to date has us over by 13,000. The total of these three items today is an additional 59,427, which would bring the total project cost to 2,136,121. So from the treasurer, I have been made aware that the current 2026 water reserve balance is sitting at 667,732. So the overages on this project would come from, would be funded by that, the water reserve. Two things also to note as a result of the award funding that we received notification for the water treatment plant in Cobden. The current budget does include two capital items, which was generator fencing, or was that last year's? Last year, sorry, and some pumps, one in the amount of 15,000 and one in the amount of 20. That won't be undertaken this year because they'll be undertaken as part of the bigger project. So there's about $35,000 in savings that were planned in on budget that won't be spent, and that would basically partly offset these additional costs from these three items that we're proposing today. So that's basically it. The project is getting very close to completion. We have most of the equipment on site now. It's just sort of the last items where the contractor is tying in the SCADA. They're waiting on a few filters to be installed, and so we're hoping we have maybe a couple months left, and then this will all be done. So this hopefully will be one of the last times you hear from us on it. So that's everything. Are there any questions?
Perfect, thank you. Councillor Moore, any comments or questions?
Yeah, thank you for bringing this to our attention. I am in favor of proceeding with this, irregardless of it being over budget. I hate to say that to the ratepayers out there, but if we leave this, we run the risk of having to pay extra money for emergency call-ins, et cetera, and run the chance of not having the material at the time to keep things running. So I would like to be proactive and proceed with this as timely a fashion as possible, provided the treasurer can find the cash. Thank you.
sorry, thank you. And just to note, the superintendent did list the sources of that money already, so just to circle back to your comment, it has been identified coming out of the reserve. Good. Seconder was Councillor Olmsted.
Yeah, thank you. Lots of numbers.
I know, that's why I tried not to go.
So I
too deep.
think I've got it narrowed down to, we'll end up being about $37,000 over budget, correct? Of the 2.062 million?
I don't have the exact number. I believe it's the 13 that's already been committed, plus
Yeah.
the 59 today, so about 70.
72, but we're not spending 35
Minus
that's
the
in the
35.
budget, so we're down to about 37.
Yeah.
I think, okay. So about 1.7% over budget, which is suitable. We like hitting budgets bang on, but in this case, we're good. Okay, thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Councillor White and then the Deputy Mayor.
I noticed that council had decided not to go ahead with hiring a contractor to do the swales. And now you've decided to go sort of like in the back door and say, oh, we can still do it, but we'll do it with our internal staff. Is that, to me, it seems sort of, it seems weird that we said no and now you found another way to get it done. Am I looking at this correctly or no?
So sorry, just before, so you're referring back to the last update, update number 2, when we decided not to proceed with that change order?
Yes.
Yeah, good. So if, Director of Public Works, please.
Yeah, I believe if I recall, the last update, number 2, was speaking about the 3 metering pumps. I think it was stated that one extra item may be included. There's a few items that were on the change order list. One was the back swale. My understanding that the council didn't vote on that. It was, and staff feel that we can do it in-house. There's some other grading work that can be done at the same time that staff can grade and then seed. Yeah.
So it's work that definitely needs to be done. There is water ingress into the building. It needs to be corrected, and it can be done efficiently through with staff.
Councillor White.
So my question is, if we can do it in-house, why would you bring it to us that we would have to hire contractors to do it first? And now that we can't, we're going to do it in-house. It just seems different to me that.
So I can speak to that. So typically, like, it was identified through the actual project. Before these 3 items plus the previous changer that for the metering pumps, that the budget was quite significant under budget, and staff were identifying items that potentially could be done to spend the entire amount of the funding money. Since then, in this few items that we actually held, just in case until the end of the project to see where we are financially, with these 4 projects, these 3 plus the 1 previous, these are projects that were above and beyond that didn't really need to have to be done, but they're improving the actual plant, and it's changing the scope of work for the contractors. So while it is over budget, but we're actually getting more improvement to the actual plant.
Thank you.
Perfect. And I just was flipping back. February 4th was when we heard the second update. So if you wanted to go back, just to confirm the context that the director provided. Good. Deputy Mayor, you're next.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Yeah, so I'm in agreement as Councillor Moore is. I think it's, to me, I have an old saying, a stick in time saves 9. So I think it's a good move to do this at this time. I was just going to ask if, once the completion, we are finished, I would like to see if council would also agree to perhaps doing a tour of it, so that we know exactly what all's been done. Just when it's finalized, I would like to see that.
I think that's perfect. We can organize that.
So, Mayor, yeah, the intent would be have a tour and a ribbon cutting, and also having one last report of a final closeout for the total amount of funds we spent and which will be done hopefully in the next months or 2.
Okay, perfect, that's.
Excellent.
Thank you very
Deputy
much.
Mayor. So good. We'll plan on that. Any other comments? Councillor Trim and then Councillor Bell.
Yes, I at the last meeting, Councillor White, I suggested that we try to do this work in-house because we have the expertise and, for the most part, the equipment. And so I'm very happy that the director investigated that and agreed to do it. That's a good way to save everybody money. Also, of course, I'm no expert, but looking at the pictures that were provided, it's pretty obvious to me that we need to change these things. They're just a disaster waiting to happen. And I'm wondering why that wasn't noticed by somebody that is an expert and wasn't included right off the bat. But I know you can't think of everything, and it wasn't a brand-new plant we were building. So I just know that change orders, although the way it was explained today, while staff are there and they're working, the contractors, I mean, perhaps it wouldn't be too much more, because generally speaking, change orders are more expensive. However, the way you've explained it, I think is something that I could vote for.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, yeah, so, and some of these items were included, if you recall, the original scope, the first time we went out for tender, which came over budget, and council and staff tried to come back and scope down the project of it. Some of these items were included in that original.
Good. So someone did see it, to Councillor Tim's point. We just tried to make it affordable, as Councillor Olmsted wanted, trying to keep it on budget. Good. I just have a couple questions, comments. So the first one is just about the additional $35,000 that we're going to spend this year. And again, this is just again, public record. Maybe this is for the treasurer or the director of public works, but I just want to confirm there's no forecasted change in the rate study for our rate study for water as a result of this decision. We're able to absorb this within the current rate study forecasted rates. Who wants to answer that? Treasurer?
Yeah, I can take that. Yeah, so there would be no change to the forecasted rates because every year there was already a projected amount that went to reserve and then a contingency amount to stay in reserve, and this would fall within that contingency amount that is put to reserve for future capital. And like the environmental superintendent mentioned, if it's not done now, it would be done later on. So it just gets worked into the overall repairs and maintenance lines that will go down over that time with the same rate increase that are proposed.
Perfect. See, when you have an asset management plan for type of asset, how it can actually work if you have a plan. So we're going to get there. Yeah. We have it for water and wastewater. The second point, and poor superintendent, I'm going to throw this one at you. We're proposing to add an asset to the plant. The second post-filtration chlorine analyzer for $30-some thousand. This is an increase to our assets that we're managing at the plant. Although small, I just wanted to acknowledge that this is something, a new requirement that we should have in order to provide the same level of service. It's just costing us more.
And the actual asset itself is about $8,000. The analyzer itself, the remaining cost would be the installation. And one of the biggest reasons to do it now is the programming. The contractor that does the tie into the SCADA is on site tying in all the other pumps and analyzers. So that's a portion of the cost. That 30 is the programming. So, but yes.
Perfect. Again, it's creep, right? Our asset pocket, or our assets are growing as a result of this decision. Although it's, when you say 8,000, it's much more appetite, or not, that's the programming piece, but the portion is not huge. The last one is just a comment on the swale, and just taking into account what Councillor White pointed out about doing it internally. We made that decision, but as I was directed earlier by the Director of Public Works, or told, is that when we do something in-house and we can do it cheaper, because we're basically writing off the labor, we're not charging ourselves for the labor of that work being done. it doesn't go towards the total value of the asset. So it's not a $2.1 million project, it's gonna be 2.07. When you put that information in and OSIF calculates how much the provincial government's gonna feed us, it's based on the actual number we put in the system. So by writing off the labor, we are discounting OSIF. So just a point, and I know I've talked to the Director of Public Works, we may have to examine a way to make sure that we recognize the value of our labor that Public Works is putting into projects to make sure that the asset amount reflects the true cost of having that asset, and therefore OSIF is amended to increase to that value. Now, this is a small example. Adjusting the swale is not going to make a difference, but it's just an example on other assets like road work or things like that where this could make a difference. Good, Director of Public Works, did I provide enough of a summary on that?
Yeah, I think you're perfect.
Good. Does that trigger any other questions? So yes, I'm good with the swale idea. I just recognize it in terms of a principle. We can't always write it off on the books. Councillor Bell.
Yeah, I just had two questions or comments. These valves are at the end of their useful life, you mentioned. Just wondering what the useful life is on the replacement parts that are going to be installed.
Take that. One thing, we want the exact placement. Big thing with regular maintenance, I would expect, about 30, 40 years, I would expect.
Okay, that's good. And then just with these two replacements coming as additional work orders, and the reasoning behind them to save on possible emergency fixes later on, those are the only things that you can see that could pose a potential threat moving forward in the next year, 2, 3? There's nothing else in the plant that staff is looking at as this would be a nice to have, or this is a potential problem moving forward as well? I say that just as a means of, like, are there any other projects that are projected that may come up in the next year or two that might be a benefit to change now? Just asking that,
Yeah.
that question.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, so this is like, to answer your question, but just before you answer the question, this is the last item that we've asked the contractor and EVB, which are a firm, engineering firm. Is there any more that could be, that we see that should be done right now? And this is the last few items that were identified. I don't have the actual asset management plan in front of me for the Beachford Water Plant, but this project wasn't a full renovation on all the aspects. There's still other components that will need to be replaced over the next, years to come. But to my knowledge, for the next future 1 or 2 years, that that there's no other items that would be included. But staff can verify and get back to council.
And it sounds to me like these replacements are probably going to benefit for future maintenance in that post 2-year project timeline.
That's correct.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, good. So we'll just to confirm if there's any optimization to see if there's any additional projects that we need to consider with respect to a change order. Okay, good. Thanks, Councillor Bell. Any other comments from any other member of council? Good. And with that, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It's carried unanimously. Good. Thank you. Next item is our 25th anniversary update for the Township of Whitewater Region. When I think of this, comparing it to Pembroke, who is celebrating 200 years next year, like, it makes you, yes, we're young compared to that. Recommendation that the Council of Township of Whitewater Region accepts this report as information and approves the 25th anniversary grant funding as listed to community organizations. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Bell, seconded by Councillor Trim. And Director of Community Services, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So we did put forward all of the information for the 25th anniversary, so this is just an update as to where we are so far. And as you're all aware, the township was officially incorporated in 2001 through the amalgamation of the former municipalities of Cobden, Beachburg, Westmeath, and Ross. So we're celebrating that amalgamation this year with a few different ways. So this report is mainly put together to announce the grant funding, which is the 25th anniversary fund of $10,000 that council put forward. And we've received an expression of interest from multiple organizations. So based on that, we've put a note to say that how much each we're proposing is granted, as well as their plans for the funding. They all included various information in their emails, and this is just a summary of what we've put forward for them. So in the $10,000 granted, we've got $2,000 to the Beachburg Agricultural Society, $2,000 to the Cobden Agricultural Society, both going towards their fairs. To note, the Beachburg Fairs celebrating also their 170th anniversary this year, so that's an accomplishment, and both together will be mentioned. $1,500 to the WDRA, the Westmeath and District Recreation Association, $1,000 for the Beachburg Off-Road Cycling Association, $1,000 to the Tour of Whitewater, $800 for Foresters Falls Athletic Association, $700 for our Haley Station Firefighters Association, and $500 both for Connect Well Community Health as well as the Cobden Legion. So various events and programming that's going to be happening throughout the year for a total of $10,000. In addition to the funding that is, and I won't go through what each group is using, the description is there. In addition to that, we also held the logo contest. An in-person vote was held with staff and council, and Ryan has been announced as the winner, and you'll notice the last page of this report has the logo on it. And we'll be putting that out to all staff to use with any further updates, communication, or advertising going forward. So that's our official 25th anniversary logo. And then finally, the 25th anniversary Touch a Truck. So we've asked everybody to save the date, August 15th. We've reached out to the Beachburg Agricultural Society as well as the Recreation Association for any partnership opportunities to have for this event. We're going to provide a barbecue, and you may get an invite to barbecue. There's your 5 minutes notice. And also on top of that, the Touch a Truck, we're going to feature our township trucks, machinery, and equipment, as well as some outside and or community organizations. So requests are going to go out. If you guys know of a piece of equipment that I should make sure and reach out to, please connect with me, let me know. And then in addition to that, part of the same event, the Agricultural Society has offered their additional space to house a community connections fair. So if you'll remember in 2024, I put forward the idea for having a community fair in Cobden, and we would like to run the same fair in conjunction in Beachburg with this Touch a Truck. So in a sense, we're going to invite all of our community recreation groups and ask them to put forward a booth, and they can provide information to people who attend. They can gather volunteers. I hope to put up a job posting board, so each of those groups can send me a job posting that I can post and say help wanted and what the description is, what the hours that they want to put forward, and that kind of a thing to advertise for our local groups. And our community groups will all be invited as long as they host an event or programming in Whitewater region. So I'm hoping that that event will take place, and again, like what we've heard previously, the number of volunteers in our organization is on the decline. So if we can do anything to help with that, the 25th anniversary is a great reason to do so. And then going forward, the interviews and our video series will begin, and our staff showcase will be our next step for what we're doing with the 25th anniversary. And that's it for me, if you have any questions.
Lots of work going on behind the scenes there. That's excellent. Thank you. Councillor Bell, mover, any comments from you? No? Seconder, Councillor Trim? Any other comments from members of council? Councillor Moore?
Thank you for this report. Just wondering if going forward, if you can put us all like in an email chat or something so we know what to anticipate is expected of us at certain times so we can mark our calendars as you get confirmed with things such as helping to barbecue, etc. It would be nice to be able to put that in our calendars. So the sooner you can get us the information, the better. So however that works through this office will be fine. Thank you.
Good. Yep, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, so just a couple of things. I'm just wondering, as far as if we could do something, I'm wondering with the Whitewater, with the fire trucks, with all of our, instead of just one station, if we could do something for all 5 stations, if that would be possible, or if we could even hold it where we could bring all of our fire trucks at that event, so everybody can see it. Because we have a brand-new fire truck that people can never see. Just something that we could do just to enhance, so people know what's out there and what we have. The other thing I would like to mention is, and I don't know, maybe this is already in the works, I'm just wondering if we are doing anything for all previous council members that were in 2000 and from the beginning of 2005, or 2001, I'm sorry, if we were doing anything for all those previous council members, that if there was some kind of a recognition for all of those members of council.
Okay, I will absolutely take that back. Yep.
Thank you.
Great idea.
Yeah, very good idea. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I'm thinking of my, it's somewhat of interest there. Thank you.
That's good, good. Okay, any other questions or comments from members of council? The only thing I'm going to share, just in terms of Councillor Moore's question about activities, and I know Director is all over the details of these things, but the Beachburg Agricultural Society, the opening ceremonies for the Beachburg Fair, we have an MPP attending. So she is now confirmed. MPP Lisa Thompson, Minister of Rural Affairs, is coming here to mark their 170th as well as our 25th. We've also invited Minister Jones, who's Minister of Agriculture. So that would be an event where, yes, please put it on your calendar. We'd like to be able to welcome the ministers that are able to come. So, and we'll keep adding to that, just like Councillor Moore had asked for. Good. No other questions or comments? Great job. Looks wonderful. Then we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you. Good. Next item is 9.4. This is a statement of council remuneration and expenses. This is the, making sure that the public has a copy of exactly what remuneration council members have received. The recommendation is that the council of the Township of Whitewater Region receive the 2025 Statement of Council Remuneration and Expenses Paid for information purposes. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Olmsted and the Deputy Mayor, please. And this is going to go to our treasurer/clerk.
Thank you. So this is an annual report that through the Municipal Act is required to be performed prior to March 31st of each year. What it is it's a listing of all the expenses and actual pay that was received by each council member. Originally, this was set out, the pay piece was set out in a bylaw in 2022. The previous council was bylaw 2203-1485 to provide remuneration. And then that bylaw is set to be renewed. So they'll actually be coming forward in a future council meeting to discuss the remuneration of future council because it is through the Municipal Act that it has to be reviewed by a council every 4 years at minimum. So that'll be coming forward. This overall report just more or less summarizes what each council member did as well as their committee expenses. So the honorarium side is the actual pay that is laid out in the bylaw that I had mentioned earlier, with the exception that there is the COLA increases to it every year, the same as staff receive. Benefits, that is CPP and EHT. Whenever we look at those sides, it's the employer portions. Expenses, they're laid out in the policy and the bylaw, from travels for mileage, other business functions, designation for approved meetings and things like that. Then there's the donations area, which is donations that councillors make individually towards organizations within the municipality that are through their council funds that are budgeted every year. And then, as I noted, as part of the pay equity that occurred early and was passed in, I believe it was August of this year, there's comparison and data that'll be integrated into the new bylaw that'll come forward there later in 2026. So we'll just go down. Everything is included in budget and falls under budget. So this is the overall summary for the year, going from mayor to councillor, with all benefits, including and I see this one didn't update for some reason. Literally, I looked at this earlier this morning. The board members, so the deputy mayor and Councillor Moore, are on two boards under the ORPC and then the ORES, and then Councillor White is also under the South Ottawa Valley OPP Detachment Board, long acronym. That is supposed to be on there, and it is on the main version if you're looking at it online. Just this one does not show it right at the moment. Any questions?
Councillor Olmsted, any comments or questions?
No comment, thank you.
Good. Deputy Mayor?
I have nothing at this time, thank you.
Any other members of council? No? Excellent. I wanted to publicly acknowledge Councillor Bell did allow me to use some of his education conference expense this past year to allow me to attend Federation of Canadian Municipalities conference in Ottawa. So I appreciate him allowing the movement of money from him to me. Good. And that is something that we had approved. I know the Deputy Mayor is asking the question, but yeah, there is an approval of that. But yes, do you have a question?
No, just a comment. I thought I as well had contributed to some council members that wanted, no? Okay. I thought there was some councillor members because I had not used mine, and I had said that any council members was welcome to.
So the offer was there, but no councillor members were required to use it.
Okay.
And I will also note that even though it was offered from Councillor Bell, it was not required for yours. You're still wound up under budget.
Oh,
okay. So everything worked out fine. So I do a comparison both sides of budget and not. Anybody who's over budget, I then make sure that council members, there is that piece that we're always tracking budget. Similar as I do with departments here at the municipality, that if there needs to be a sharing or a comparison in between, that we get that approval piece through and follow that bylaw side.
Okay, thank you. I just wasn't sure. I thought I had.
Perfect.
Okay,
I'd rather be completely transparent. Excellent. Good. If there's no more questions, we will call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's carried unanimously. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is notices of motion. Is there any member of council that wishes to have a notice for today? Make notice of a future motion? Good. I see none. Next item is correspondence. We have no items that require direction, but we have 5 items for information. The first item is the annual reports. Again, this is our Director of Community Services continuing to collect these annual reports from our community organizations, which is excellent. And I'll just, is there anybody that would want to make a comment to anything that they read in those reports? Councillor Trim?
Just an observation that I'm thinking all of council has observed, and that is what is happening with the seniors active living center and home support, Whitewater Seniors Home Support in our municipality. And just to think that a very short few years ago, none of this was happening in our community. So I think that this is, I'm very happy to see this report, and and hope that the staff, it gets back to the staff that how much it's appreciated. Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, and I will just, Councillor Trim, I'll just add on, the reports include comments from the public or comments from staff that have interacted with members of the public receiving these services, and it's incredible to know the difference this is making in the lives of the people in our community. And it's happening, like he said, it's happening where it didn't exist before. So thank you, Director. Please continue to collect this information. Good. The next item is the South Ottawa Valley OPP Detachment Board. Now, this is an email that I received from the new board chair, providing a breakdown of the remuneration and the budget and how it works. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, if you had any questions or comments about it. The reason we added it to the agenda was to just make sure that it was put on public record. You could now do a search and find this breakdown that offers an explanation of how it's calculated and why. Good, I see none. We'll move on to the next one, which is the Community Safety Day advertisement from the Ontario Provincial Police. And I don't know, Councillor White, did you have anything to add to that? No? Good, good. D is a thank you letter from the Minister of Infrastructure. Now, I received again, this one is, and Minister of Infrastructure is our go-to. We've been really visiting them quite a bit. And I just, if you can slide down a little bit farther there, please. The 4 grants that are listed there, we've applied for the top 3 and were awarded the 3rd one. So we have clearly done everything they've asked us to, and I'm pretty sure we didn't do the 4th grant application. I'm looking at the Director of Public Works. The agricultural stream, we didn't. No, that was more for Southern Ontario. Yeah. So we did those 3. So nice to see the recognition from him and just the recognition to council and staff for the effort that we put into applying for these grants that have come open. Good. The last one is the County of Renfrew County Council summary for February. If there's any questions or comments from members of council. Sure, I'm going to start with Councillor White and then we'll go to Councillor Trim.
Yes, under Development and Property Committee, it says that a south tower on Algonquin Trail is listed as surplus, and yet we have trouble with cell phones or cell service, so they're taking it down. So how does that work into the plans and everything? I don't understand.
This is a tower in Arnprior, and it isn't required as part of the current network in Arnprior. So it's not going to reduce cell phone service in any way. It's literally declared surplus based on the new towers that have come up. Yeah. That's good. Councillor Trim?
Yes, I just noted, and I think this is wonderful. Bonnechere Manor received a prestigious award, Pinnacle North in Barry's Bay. And I think that's worth noting, that seniors, again, are getting good care in our, in this case, in the county. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Butterfly Home Accreditation, yes. Yeah, incredible. And they have put, that's years in the making. But you're right, the wait lists for our 2 manors that are paid for by our tax dollars or supplemented by our tax dollars, Bonnechere and Miramichi, have got the longest wait lists in the county. And it's because people want to go there. That's good. No other questions on that item? Good. We'll continue. Announcements. Good. And we will start with the Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you. I will leave that to Michael. I'll leave that to these. They do a very good job at this. Thank you.
Good. Councillor Bell?
Nothing for me.
Councillor White?
Nothing from me.
Councillor Olmsted?
Pass.
Councillor Moore, you're carrying everybody.
Okay. Most important, I have an Otter River Power meeting tomorrow. If anybody else would like to attend, I'd be more than happy to take you along. I do note that there is trivia in the Ag Hall this Friday, of which I am on a team, but I can't remember who's putting it on. This has to do with the retired teacher Hamilton.
Oh, but that's for,
Yes.
it's just St. Patty's.
Yes, but they fill the hall when they
Oh,
do it.
yes,
It's
they do.
amazing the people that take part. Saturday morning, 8:30 till noon is the pancake breakfast at St. Andrews United in Beachburg, sponsored by the Beachburg Volunteer Firefighters. And across the road at 6 p.m. at the Beachburg Hall Limited, the Lions Club and Beachburg Fair Board are sponsoring their second annual family bingo. So anyone can go of any age, and the money raised stays within the confines of them two groups. So it's all in, the aspects is for community help, and that's where the money goes towards. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Councillor Trim?
Yes, not an event announcement entirely, but I just want to make mention of the mayor's initiative to conduct throughout our municipality various round-top table discussions. And in our area, we've had 3 so far, and they've been very well attended, but also the comments coming back are positive. It's been a wonderful experience, and I certainly commend the mayor for this initiative. Thank you.
Good. And if you're interested in hosting one, please let me know. I've triggered on Councillor Olmsted and the Deputy Mayor on one here coming up, so we'll see. Good. I only have one thing as I was flipping through my book that I wanted to share with Council just as an opportunity here is the Legion is celebrating its 100th year this year. And I think it's all legions, not necessarily our legion, all legions. And their initiative that they have approached council with, and I believe we've met with, I think the Director of Community Services has met with me with the Legion and Public Works. They would like to do, they have proposed a crosswalk, a Legion crosswalk. So just looking at it with staff and trying to find some grants, and of course it's a county road, so there's another level of I want to say red tape, but it's not red tape, it's good old bureaucracy. We are working through it, but that is one thing that we're working with on the Legion on the side. So if I ask if you want to join a meeting, sometimes I'll reach out if it's Public Works or Community Services, just to make sure that you guys are aware of what's happening. Good, that's all for announcements. I notice the next item on the agenda is bylaws. We have no bylaws attached to this agenda. We have no closed session. Item number 15, which is the confirmatory bylaw, I can't pass until we have done item 6, which is the presentations. So we will come back to item number 15 after the presentation from the library board. So with that, we are going to recess, unless there's anything else that council, good. We are going to recess and reconvene at 4:44 p.m. Good? Thank you, Sean.